What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 2016 end of the year special episode of Unfiltered. I'm ChanManV, and he's Richard Lewis, and he's Destiny. What's up, guys?
How are you doing?
So, is the account that I have subscribed to you on Patreon, is that going to be charged for this episode, or how does that work?
The few patrons we still have that have been literally waiting for this episode for the last 9 months or so. Yeah, it's probably it's a freebie for you guys. How about that? It's a freebie.
Yeah, it's alright. I had nothing better to do. I've managed to drive all my loved ones away, so this is the high point of my year.
What? New place? No new love?
Yeah, exactly.
Dude?
I'm in Atlanta.
I never hear about your love life. You never make videos on your love life, dude.
Well, yeah, I'm not, because I'm not a fucking desperate for attention YouTuber doing vlogs. Even fucking Crip got in on it the other day. He did a video.
Dogs are cute, dude.
This is my new puppy. What the fuck is this? You're a Hearthstone channel. I don't care about your puppy.
This is internet content. What the fuck, dude? That's
People
what you do.
weird, dude.
I mean, why do you think Steven's had the cat this whole time and stuff? I mean,
Had the what? The
I think he said had the clap. I was like, holy shit, Steve. You want to tell me something?
We didn't say anything about. We're not supposed to say anything about that.
All right, okay. We'll get into STDs a little bit later, no doubt.
Yeah. So, Steven, how's your white self over there, man? Look at.
I'm doing great, man. You got me on this shitty fucking camera with my million fucking lights around here.
It's not my fault. Okay, let me adjust it for you. I thought you were gonna adjust it yourself. You told me
I can't because the shitty software that comes with the camera doesn't let you fucking adjust anything.
Oh my God. All right. Let me
just to put it in context, guys. Steven didn't even know he'd need a webcam. That's Mr. Professional Streamer over there.
Well, I thought we were using
Mr.
real programs to talk to each other.
Ooh.
Not fucking horrible Zoom, whatever the fuck this shit is. You're the only person on the planet that still uses this software.
That is
Jesus
not
Christ.
true.
Probably,
that is absolutely not true.
By going to their page and downloading this, I bet I doubled their fucking monthly hits for their shit-ass fucking software.
You're trying to do what Donald Trump did. You're lowering their stock. You're lowering their stock by criticizing them in a way they can't defend themselves. So, Steven, you should be more responsible, mate. You've got to be more responsible.
All right, well, guys, we we're just doing an end of the year type of episode, so obviously we missed a lot of months in between, but basically we covered the top stories. I think Steven tweeted something a day or two ago just to see what you guys had in store, but just go ahead and tweet any questions or any suggestions you want us to talk about today. We'll let you guys drive a little bit. We've got definitely a few topics we're going to talk about, but yeah, just more of a year in review type of thing. And definitely going to be talking about the whole PEA thing with CSGO, that whole bit that's been happening recently. Trump, of course, big topic this year, 2016. Also, I've got CSGO gambling on here. Maybe Richard just touch on that. I mean, Richard could probably go days on that, so not too much of that.
I won't. I'm on best behavior. I'm just glad to have company. So
exactly. You started talking to.
I'll socialize.
To Sam just kind of out there responding to you every once in a while.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we'll do, definitely some Memoriam, with Carrie Fisher today. Some news, sad news for all the Star Wars fans out there. But 2016 has been crazy in terms of celebrities passing. So I figure we'd talk a little about some of those that have gone this year. And then whatever comes up, it's just a free flow show for the most part.
Sounds good, Chris. Sounds like you've sounds good. Like you've been really improving the format in my absence.
Exactly. So. Well, we don't change anything, dude. We haven't done one in your absence. Maybe we've done one. We did one episode in your absence. Okay, so let's start things off with the whole eSports Cold War talk. At least that's what Richard called his.
Does Steven even follow eSports?
Yeah, do you even follow that? You know what's going on?
What is the? Are you talking about the CS:GO TSM shit?
Yeah.
I read a little bit about it. Sure.
All right. Well,
I'm just checking because the way I look at it now is like I read Steven's Twitter feed and it's all politics. I'm with her and that's about it really. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Like I don't know what happened, but didn't he used to be involved in video games or something at one point?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of politics over the past few months. I'm not going to deny that.
How can you
You're
not?
not wrong, mate. You're not wrong.
How can you not, man, given what's been going on this year? But okay, anyways, let's talk about the Cold War. Lots of stuff going on in CSGO in terms of players, the player rights movement, which is the hashtag in these days. And really, it's mostly about just the players wanting to have a say in what events that they play and where teams have obviously been in agreements with certain organizers and leagues and and making their players basically play in these leagues. The most recent one, PEA, came up. That's been the focus of a lot of the talks recently, where some of the players didn't know about they were going to be forced to play in it and not play in other ESL tournaments or whatnot. And then most recently, we had TSM be like the focus with Sean Gares. Reggie and Sean Gares having a little conversation about all of this, and it resulted in Sean parting ways with TSM. Obviously, drama there, which we can talk about too. But in the end, it's all about Players Association talk again. And we actually started this year with Richard talking about Players Association. And we're going to be ending the year with it's still unresolved, and it's a big topic again.
I think we're actually getting closer to one existing.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's a group in CS now, and just to be absolutely clear, there were always little groups, there were always little collectives of people and players that wanted to have an association. For example, when I was trying to set mine up, which got abruptly ended around about the same time, the whole loader thing happened. Because obviously it's very hard to argue you're about player welfare when people accuse you of choking a player,
you don't have to face it. That's it.
Well, yeah, that's just that was just the obvious line of attack, wasn't it? Like, you know what I mean? Hey, I'm all about player welfare. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? So you can't really campaign anymore. So anyway, there was a group of people, and there was like one in existence for the Dota guys, which was run by PPD, right? And I was like, hey, could we all unify? Could we get some representatives in? I had like an NA rep lined up, an ex-player who had done a lot of work and stuff, and I had an ex-European player who we felt would have been a good representative. And I was trying to get something that was a bit more formal. I'd stand in as an interim head, and then after 3 months they'd elect somebody. Who was more in line with a player, but none of that happened. We had to scratch it, and then basically what they were left with was a Skype group. They were just left with a Skype group, and it was pathetic, honestly. Like, I'm friends with a lot of these guys, but I don't mind saying it. One of their Skype group, it got hacked, I think.
It got hacked?
Yeah, because it's Skype. Everyone gets fucking hacked on Skype.
What does hacked mean? Just leaked what was being said in the combos? I mean, know what that even means.
Someone who shouldn't have had gained access, copied all the logs, leaked the logs.
Right. Okay.
So it was Fallen specifically. It was the Brazilian dude.
Oh, so right.
Yeah. So his Skype got hacked, and obviously he's in that group, right? So either the person who'd hacked it or one of the guys who got the Skype log sent it across to me, and I was having a read of the things they were discussing in there. And it was pretty sad, actually. Like, it wasn't
sad, nothing being discussed, or sad.
Yeah, like pathetic thing.
Got it.
Like, this hotel's lousy. Like, I understand it.
The room service sucks here, guys.
Yeah, you gotta have a good hotel, right? You gotta get a good night's sleep or whatever.
This is like 95% of all of these like celeb Skype groups and shit that get made. By the way, is always just bickering and talking about random stupid shit. I was for the Players Association stuff originally, but like at this point, like I'm kind of reserved to the. I don't know. I honestly think that most of the people that operate in this space are fucking children or idiots. Like, how are you going to get together and make a players association with a bunch of people that are too stupid to even read their fucking contracts? Like, I don't know. It's really hard for me to especially what recently happened between Reggie and the Sean guy. Like, I don't know. I have a hard time having pity sometimes on some of these people now.
No, and here's the thing. Like, like it is hard for me to pity players sometimes, but this debate that's come up about the PEA player rights thing, it's being framed very disingenuous. And this is the point that hasn't really got made, and that is that people are saying that the players believe they have an inalienable right to choose where they compete. Now, I would certainly say that players should have some input in where they compete. Think about, for example, in sporting events during times of political upheaval. So, for example, I grew up when South African apartheid was being torn down. And athletes didn't want to compete in South African events or play against South Africa until apartheid was ended. They took a stand on it. you know, and in the past I've seen it, you know, for black rights, you know, for all manner of things, for political reasons. And I think players should be able to say, I don't want to compete in that league if I don't support the politics or the sponsors or you know, whatever it is, because that's your conscience, that's your you know, your moral compass. You should have the right to dictate that, not your employers. And yeah, you might get fired over it, but you know.
Yeah, but is that really what this is all about?
Yeah, well, really this is what I'm going to say, right? So the ESL situation is this. They said we want to they didn't say we want to choose where we compete. They said we just don't want to be told as a surprise after we have existing agreements with our organizations that we suddenly can't compete over there. And this is why the choice is important, and this is what no one said. It's a devil you know, devil you don't deal. So they're asking the players to basically say, oh hey, we'll absolutely not play in ESL and we'll play in PEA. PEA is not a thing yet. It's not an existing league. It's never paid anyone a fucking dime. So how can you trust it? How do I know as a player?
Were these provisions all in their contracts originally?
No, I don't think. No.
Then how are any of these? Then why don't all the people just waltz the fuck out? Or like, why don't they? You know.
I mean, they're saying.
It depends on what. I mean,
they're saying they signed an agreement. So there's two ways of looking at it, right?
Yeah.
Now, my understanding is that this isn't in their player contracts that they have with the organizations representing it differently and saying it is. But even if it is, right, it must be a recent thing that they've signed. So at the time that they signed, at no point was it. In fact, they'd said the opposite. PEA had never said they were going to tell players where they couldn't compete. PEA had never said we were going to be exclusive. So
okay,
it's one of the two.
But this is part of your job as being a functioning adult. When you sign a contract, a child will sign it and they look and see what's going on. Like, yeah, seems good. And then you sign it because you're a fucking idiot. And then you move on. The way that you approach any business contract, and this goes for everybody in the fucking audience, and I will say this from a position of authority, when you sign a contract, it is your responsibility when you view a contract to extrapolate all the possible ways that you could get fucked out of signing or for signing that contract. That's your job when you sign a contract.
That's what your lawyer's job is.
What? Well, whatever. Then get a fucking lawyer. You're the one. It's at the end of the day, it's your name on the fucking contract. Yep. It's not your lawyer's name. It's your name. So if you're signing a contract and there's like 20 different ways you could get fucked, but right now everything kind of seems okay, and we'll just sign it. Like, I don't know. I have no pity.
I agree. And here's what I'm saying. Though. I don't think that's the case here. I think what's happened is they have a pre-existing contract with some organizations that grouped together to form a business that didn't exist at the time they signed the contract. Now, some people have re-signed and it's been factored in. But again, if it doesn't say exclusively in your contract, I will be exclusive to this league, then I don't see how it's enforceable. You can't just say, oh, well, we employ you, so you do what the fuck we say.
So then if it's not, if it's a breach of contract, then shouldn't they just be allowed to get out of it if the people have changed their shit and then?
But this is where it gets incredibly convoluted and difficult, right? And this is why what the players have rightly done, in my opinion, is appoint a representative in the form of Sir Scoots, who we all know, right? Like he's been appointed as a representative, and he's going to sit around the table, and he's going to talk with the person who runs PEA, the team owner's representative, if you like, Jason Katz, and they're going to come to some agreement. Now, that's the way it should be handled. Now, when we get into the TSM situation is, for some fucked up reason, right, Reginald seems to think that even though Sean Gares said, yeah, we're probably going to put this letter out and we're not happy with PEA over a private lunch that the two had, and nobody's denying this, nobody's disputing this. So Sean Gares said, this is what's coming in the pipeline. Reginald then, when it happens and it arrives in the pipeline, he goes public saying, yeah, I'm firing Sean Gares because Sean Gares never said that I
didn't know about this lunch. I didn't know about this lunch.
No, stop. The lunch thing, I heard that they had talked about it. Whereas this Reggie went public saying that he was firing him. I thought that Sean was the one that originally leaked the logs. That wasn't Reggie firing him, but them going back and forth over a conversation for a period of messages.
It was the logs.
Where they finally agreed that it was
Reginald
probably
put out a tweet longer. A lot of people, again, a lot of Reggie put out and say, oh, well, he didn't fire him. They agreed to part ways and it was amicable. Put it this way. If I saw a conversation where somebody was like threatening you in that kind of manner and looking to discipline you back when I was a fucking union rep, that would be constructive dismissal all day long. So fuck that noise.
Okay, so the way that this conversation worked, okay, it seems to me, okay, being a reasonable person, The players, the teams, and the organizations want as little friction as possible, and you probably want all parts of your machine to be well-oiled and working nicely together, okay? Yeah, now, as evil or whatever as some people may be, the team owners, in general, probably want the players to be happy. The players probably want the owners to be happy, and the leagues probably want all the teams to be getting along with them, right? So if you had just been hired to an organization, and you were about to release some sort of letter, why wouldn't you just run it by your boss to make sure that everything is on the up and up, especially when you're a new member of that organization? I don't understand why you wouldn't.
He already did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. You're lying.
That's what we're talking about the lunch. Isn't that what we're talking about with the lunch here?
He did not show him the exact letter that they were going to release.
Not the exact letter, but
they don't. They don't have. You don't have to do that. That right? If I say,
well, apparently Reggie disagrees.
yeah, okay, but that doesn't mean anything. Reggie disagrees about a lot of things. He's not an intellectual authority.
So, I mean, no, but Reggie is the authority of TSM, and you're working for TSM, so he's kind of your authority.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm not saying Reginald doesn't have the choice to fight. I'm saying that he's a piece of shit for doing it.
Okay, well, here's how it works, I guess. If you join an organization and you pass by something that makes your organization look bad, and you've only been working there for 2 years, and you didn't run that exact piece of wording by your boss, I guess in the future, if anybody's confused, you're probably going to get fucking fired. That's not surprising. If you're not an idiot, you should know that, right? If you're involved with something like that, why wouldn't you run literally word for word by your boss that just fucking hired you 2 weeks ago to make sure that everything is on the up and up and everybody's happy and there's consistent message being delivered across a unified front so that everybody's on the same page? But instead you kind of pass a message that makes your team look kind of bad, and you were working with someone else to do it, and you didn't tell your boss about it. I don't know. That's not that surprising to me.
No, because
you're going to get fired.
I'll explain why. Because first of all, he's already had a sit-down lunch with him and say, coming. Like, the letter wasn't written at that point, but he said, we're going to put a letter out and blah, 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 and it's all good, right? And then second of all, once I defer to my representative, it's in their hands, right? Like, I don't have to talk to you about it anymore. My rep's going to do that. You want to talk about it? Talk to my rep. Now, this is what I find ridiculous about it. Reginald came out publicly and said, well, the fucking players Sean didn't come to me and talk about it. Well, when did Reginald sit Sean down and say PEA is going to be exclusive and we're going to make a demand that you don't play in ESL? When did he have that talk about it? Well, he didn't, right? So
I mean, Reginald is the team owner. Reginald is the team owner. He owns the team. If you don't like how he runs the team, then go fucking make your own team. What do you mean? Are you expecting Reginald to give the same amount of consideration to his employee as the employee would to the boss?
Steven,
that's not how that works.
Steven, you're a big boy, mate. You fucking know as well as I own something or run something doesn't mean you can behave any way you want. You know, my boss doesn't come in and go, hey, suck my fucking dick. And I go, no, I don't want to suck your dick. Thank you very much. And he goes, yeah, well, I run the company. So if you don't want to suck my dick, you're out. You're on the bread line.
Hey, that happens sometimes.
There's standards and practices.
That happens sometimes.
There's standards and practices, right? So what I'm saying
but Stephen has
incredibly hypocritical of him.
Stephen has a point, though. To a degree, he does have a point.
Did Sean have an opportunity to run the exact wording by Reggie? Right? Yes or no? He did, right?
Yeah, I imagine so.
So if Sean would have ran the exact wording by Reginald could have given him a little bit of input. They could have been on a unified front. Everything would have been better and more cohesive because whatever statement Sir Scoots puts out is going to look a million times better if all the teams are behind it, right? Why wouldn't you do that? That's part of your job, is making sure you have this cohesion between these different things. You can't constantly have a players union that is trying to stick it to the teams, and then teams that are constantly fighting and sneaking shit by, the players union. Like, this is not a functional system. I don't understand how this could have ended in any other way than Sean getting fired. I wouldn't have expected it to. And I don't understand how Sean could have thought it would have ended in any other way.
So let's get on board with your line of thinking and say Sean should have absolutely ran the letter past Reggie. Let's say I agree with that. I don't, but let's say I do. So let's follow it logically. You're saying in that case, he must absolutely be fired for it. That's the only course of action. Well, I definitely disagree on that regards.
Well, but that wasn't the course of action. You're being disingenuous. Reggie did not instantly fire him. They had a long conversation back and forth.
Sean even said he didn't feel comfortable staying there.
Yeah, Sean was the one that was moving towards leaving the company way before
Reginald took ownership for removing him. You can read his twit longer. He says,
in the end, but the original logs, though, it wasn't Reggie's conversation.
Did you read the conversations that Sean posted?
Read them all. Done a video on them. Done 2 videos on them.
Yeah, well, then, it was a pretty back and forth thing. Like, I don't even think that conversation started off with Reggie intending to part ways with Sean. But then Sean kind of made it look like that he wanted to leave.
Okay. So you're not taking in some of the other stuff that was going on. So first of all, I think we all know that this of North American owners, which I've been talking about, on Unfiltered for fucking years. Basically, like when Sean Gares went to TSM, Reginald asked like Jack if it was okay, because apparently Jack and from Cloud9 and Sean Gares it was a weird parting and it wasn't on good terms or something. So he was already on thin ice when he got there. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's even more of a reason why he should have been communicating constantly with Reggie.
So explain this to me then. All of the players signed the letter. Why didn't Reggie drop the whole team?
Because it's not realistic, because you're probably not going to drop your entire team over something?
You choose the most senior player. You choose the one who, as a perception, has the most authority. You drop him. You single him out, and then you make the rest of them come out and do an apology. And even in the apology, the 4 teams say everything Reggie said about Sean manipulating this is a lie. So Reginald's reason for getting rid of Sean wasn't even the letter, because he's let 4 people remain employed for signing the letter. It was the fact that he was the ringleader, that he was encouraging people to effectively unionize. That's why he fired Sean.
I think it was more the fact that the guy was stirring up shit, and he'd literally been there for 2 fucking weeks. And when Reggie approached him about it, he was insanely combative about doing it.
For players. Do you consider getting a better deal for players, stirring up shit?
But that's not what the problem was. It wasn't getting a better deal for players. It was not communicating with Reggie what was going to be released in the letter. For all we know, maybe there are just 1 or 2 lines that Reggie would have.
No player did that. That's what I'm saying. Why single Sean out? If you can give me a reason to single Sean out, then we're getting somewhere.
Because wasn't Sean the guy that would have been the one to communicate what was talked about specifically before that letter went out? Did any other player have access to that letter?
Some players said that they didn't see the full written version of it, but all players were going to be sent copies or whatever.
What is Sean's job at TSM? What was his job?
Wasn't Sean one of the liaisons though to Scott? There are certain players that are heading up the players.
Some people are just leaders, right? And because Sean's a little bit older, he's like 28 or something.
Sure.
Sean is a natural leader. He's been an in-game leader pretty much all his career. He's a senior player. He's one of the more cerebral guys out there. He's got a brain. And quite possibly he was instrumental in assigning Scoots as a representative overall for all of the players. But let's look at that TSM team. Some of those guys are like barely of competitive age. They're incredibly young. You wouldn't expect them to go out and be masters of their own destiny. So obviously they defer to somebody. Now that's what I'm saying is troublesome, because Reginald has singled out the guy who all he's effectively tried to do is just get all the players on board with let's get a better deal for ourselves. It's got nothing to do with TSM. Sean didn't denigrate TSM in any way. He didn't publicly say TSM are treating me badly. He just signed the letter that said what PEA is doing is wrong. PEA had promised that they weren't going to be exclusive, and now they're trying to fucking give us the old, switcheroo. So for me, it's what it looks like to me anyway, is that they've singled out the guy with the brain. They've singled out the older guy, the guy who's influential, and they're trying to fucking cut his nuts off and hurt him the most, just as a warning to everybody else. Don't fucking unionize. Don't think you're going to get a better deal. Don't try and tell PA what to do, or we'll put you out to pasture. And that's what Sean's realistically looking at now, because all the North American organizations are in PEA. Where's Sean going to go? He's a 28-year-old player, could be coming towards the end of his career. He's definitely been juggling retirement since he's got engaged as a mental thought process. Where's he going to go and play if all the other members of PEA won't give him a job? And that's problematic. So, to use one of Steven's favorite words. So, this is fucked up. I mean, surely
I don't know how this guy is so fucking smart and didn't see any of this coming. I don't know. That's pretty bizarre to me. I'm not sure.
No, because here's the thing. First of all, I never said he was smart. I said
you said that he was very, very smart. That was one of the things you said.
One of the cerebral players.
Okay, one of the smart. I mean, like, here's what I'll tell you. This is what I'm telling you. This is what I'm telling you.
Steven,
okay? Is if you are supposed to be somebody that's communicating 2 different things between the owner of your organization and somebody else that's putting out a statement that is very likely having a big impact on things that your organization has decided that are not popular, right? Everything here is like very, the PR is very important. The way message is presented is very important, and having a unified front is very important. If you let somebody publish a letter that's going to make your team come off as bad, and you're somebody that your owner is relying on you to communicate with you, you're going to get fired every fucking time. That, like, honestly, like when Sean Gares was posting those conversations, I was actually surprised that he did it because I thought he made Reggie look insanely. Yeah. I thought Reggie looked so insanely fucking reachable or reasonable, and I love to hate on Reggie, especially after bullying my boy fucking Dyrus around. I love to shit on Reggie, and I'll do all the whatever banana jokes you want to do to make Thorin happy, or whatever. I love shitting on team owners, and I love shitting on Reggie, and all that shit is loads of fun in League of Legends and all that. But in this conversation, I thought Reggie looked so insanely reasonable. I almost thought it was fucking doctored. I thought that Reggie hacked the dude's account and was putting up messages to make Reggie look good because Reggie came off as extremely reasonable. We're not talking about players' rights. We're not talking about doing what's right or helping. All we're talking about is, hey, you work for me. You've only been here for 2 weeks. You're the guy that I'm relying on to communicate with me what's going to be published. And this guy published a letter that put my team in a bad spotlight. And you didn't. Or however the fuck
goes to the log, whatever. Or you're talking about the letter. Yeah, you're talking about the Scoots letter. Scoots' letter.
Scoots published a letter on behalf of all of the players.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right?
It's essentially
and you'll notice no one else has been fired for doing it. No one from any
I
team.
Can't think of anyone else. I don't know, but I just don't know why the guy wouldn't communicate with Reggie exactly what's gonna like. If I was in that position and you were talking about, oh, you're aging and you're gonna lose your job, like I would be careful and make sure that my ass is covered 100%.
Yeah, and that's another thing, right? I'm glad you brought that up because that's a form of fucking intimidation right there, isn't it? You know, like when you leverage somebody
that your employer pays you.
So, no, hear me out, right? Hear me out. So let's say, for example, right? I don't know, you're a young person with like a pretty glowing CV, and you can go and get a job anywhere else. And then you've got another guy who's coming towards retirement. You know, he's got a big pension all lined up. You know, the young guy might be a bit more vocal about shit working conditions. The other guy might not want to lose his pension, might not want to be on the fucking job market at 63 or whatever. Yeah. So that is a fucking form right there of like, hey, let's all do this together. Nah, I better not. I better peace out, right? I've got to worry about myself. People get worried about having action taken against them if their opportunities are limited. Now, I don't think that should be a factor when you want to stand up for what you believe in or you want to stand up for what's right. Certainly, nobody should have got fired over that letter. I mean, like, at least we can agree on that.
I don't think anybody got fired over the letter. Did somebody get fired over the letter?
Yeah, Sean definitely did get fired.
I don't think always get fired over the letter, dude. As
soon as Reginald... As soon as Reginald believed that Sean was some sort of fucking Machiavellian ringleader, which I think, Stephen, I describe him as very cerebral. You're saying that he can't be that smart. So it's also, by extension, he can't be a Machiavellian ringleader. So once Reginald got that in his head, out he goes. And let's be clear what this is really about. Sean Gares was getting removed because he had the audacity to stand up to fucking God Emperor Reginald. That's what it's all about.
If Reggie sent him that message and Sean would have replied something like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that the letter was going to be worded exactly like this, like next time, blah, blah, blah. Or I thought that you would have copied the letter first, or I wasn't aware that it was my responsibility to leave. Like, I'm very sure that if this was a Bethesda RPG, there were like 7 different conversation routes where that would have ended with, Reggie being a little bit upset at Sean and they would have moved on. Sean picked all of the options in that conversation to lead to him getting fired. I can't see that in any of the. Does anybody have a link to like the actual conversations? Like every single time Reggie gave him, how many times did Reggie ask him to hop on a phone call so he could chat with him? And Sean was like, "Oh no, I know, I'm a really big pussy. I don't really want to talk to you. Maybe after the holiday."
No.
Okay, now
he asked them to get on a phone call.
All right, listen.
Keep in mind, they already talked about it over fucking lunch, face to face.
It's your owner. Is that what you say to your employer, dog? You would never fucking say that. If your employer was like, "Hey, we're manager or whatever, in any job, we need to hop on a call and talk." Dude, we already talked. Dude, you would never say that.
If my boss calls me outside of hours to say, "Look, I ain't on the fucking clock. Fuck off. I'll see you Monday."
Outside of hours, it's esports, dog. Come on, what are the hours here? Sean, a 9 to 5 employee?
Esports has got to get some professional fucking standards, dude. You can't.
Okay. Listen up. So. Actually, when I read the logs too, I was definitely in the same boat Steven was. But I do have to say that listen up. When Reggie started saying that, like in his statement or whatever, that Sean manipulated the other players, but then the players came out with their own explanation and that Sean didn't manipulate them, that's when it was starting like, okay, I'm not too sure what's going on here, just Reggie might have been, just going a little overboard with his statement, but definitely, Reggie's very sensitive to how the brand's perceived. I mean, just like any company, but I would say Reggie's probably a little more sensitive than most. And, he doesn't want his brand to get a lot of shit.
Dude, it ain't even about his brand. It's not about his brand. That's real talk, right? TSM should have made a fortune for Reginald. It hasn't. It hasn't made anywhere near as much money as you think it has. And
Wait,
why is that?
Where's the source on that? What are you talking about? You don't think Reggie has made a fuck ton of money owning TSM as a brand?
I'm talking from the horse's mouth. Last time I talked to Reginald about how much money, he said he was, quote, barely a millionaire. So that's from the horse's mouth, right?
Okay, so, but he might be barely a millionaire, but he's also barely a millionaire owning one of the most successful and recognizable brands in esports today. I mean, there's something to be said for that.
And I'll tell you right now, I think there's organizations that are out in front by a country mile. He clearly doesn't understand the esports business. He's ran a fairly
Reggie
successful...
doesn't understand the esports business? Reginald?
Absolutely. Holistically.
Maybe, I don't know.
Outside of League of Legends, what the fuck has TSM done?
Yeah, but League of Legends is like they're in their own fucking world because of Riot. I mean, like somebody that's very successful in League might have a hard time transitioning to other things if they didn't have a background there first. I don't know, man. We both know that, right? Fucking Riot's
Riot's crazy.
It's like a completely different ball game than anything else.
He's this close to killing that fucking golden goose. By the way, you ask the average Riot internally what they think of TSM at the moment and Reginald.
Okay, but there's
when Mark Merrill came out and said, "Look."
But there are a lot of teams that are thinking of cutting ties with League of Legends because it's very, very hard to sustain profits.
They'll never go ahead with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends. If there are more lucrative opportunities elsewhere, if Riot continues to buckle down and not let people show sponsors and you can't generate any value from your team, I don't know. It would...
Dude, I mean, right? Those fucking... That group of team owners have managed to get Riot to do shit they don't want to... That MLBAM deal, that's all for the owners. They're going to get a cut of that. I don't know how much yet. Nobody does. Not even the owners themselves, but they're going to get a cut of that. Trust me, Riot got fucking squashed this year by this collective of team owners because they were just getting shit on in public opinion. And for the first time, the team owners grouped together and were actually going to push back on Riot. I champion that, right? I think, again, we have to understand this. There's no, like, good guys in this. There's fucking just greed and insecurity. Right. So let me tell you how PEA even gets started. And that's because the Riot and Blizzard are now trying to push existing esports owners out of esports. They want real sports owners to come in. If you look over at the Overwatch League that's being formed, you know about how that's going to work, right? So they're going to go out. They've invited, like, I don't know, 30 or 50 of the top sports organizations around the world to come and bid for the cities, right? So, because it's going to be regional. So how the fuck is Jack from Cloud9 going to bid for fucking Los Angeles? If the LA Lakers are in.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, sure, because they're trying to bring in big money. I'm not.
So they're pushing them out. And Riot,
I don't know if they're pushing them out. They're just forcing them to probably merge with some of these sports.
No.
Like we saw with Dignitas. We saw Dignitas and 76ers. Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
I think the goal I'm guessing is to get a major owner to be interested in purchasing.
It's about infusing capital.
Riot have had enough. Riot have had enough for these existing fucking esports owners because they got raked over the coals in 2016. Right now, Riot are doing exactly what Blizzard are doing and trying to court all of these big esports organizations. They're like, hey, we'll work with you, but the Reginalds and the Jacks and the people of the esports world that are giving us a hard time, we actually want them out. That's what's coming in 2017. I'm telling you this.
No, they're not going to be out. They're going to be acquired by these other large organizations.
That's as good as out.
Wasn't this the goal the entire time? Wasn't this always your goal to make esports professional and big? What did you think was going to happen when you started getting big boy money involved in this? Do you think fucking Cloud9 is going to be bidding against Mark Cuban?
Yeah, I want, right? Whatever I might say about Jack PEA, I want Jack to be successful. He's a self-made man.
Yeah, but they're never going to be successful. But they're never going to be on that level where they can bid against people that are literally billionaires, right? That was never going to happen. Like, this is always the route that esports was going to take. I thought this is what everybody was
talking about. Odie too. Odie's like, what do you mean? He's loving what he's getting a chance to do right now. Like,
because he's another esports lifer that built a fucking brand up, went through thick and thin, nearly sold Dignitas to the HMV group for £1 in the mid noughties, right? Because he was really suffering with it. He'll probably deny that story. That's legit, right? Because he just wanted a salary. He just wanted to be able to provide for his family. Now he's been bought out for millions. That's a kind of cool story. But equally, now he's just going to sit there as a figurehead and he doesn't have any input on the thing that he built. That's concerning to me. I don't like it when people from outside of esports that don't have esports experience come over and take over things in esports, and they push competent people out and they appoint people from outside. Like, it's like, so he's going to come and run this league.
But I thought that all of these people that were coming in have been purchasing talent from inside. Aren't you and Thorin the guys on the fucking desk? And aren't they, moving Slasher and all those other dudes or whatever. Like, I thought they
First
were.
of all, I did get hired by Turner. I had an agent that went.
Okay, so where is it? So it seems like in your world, you're getting fired and they're replacing you with the guys that do like NFL or whatever.
It ain't gonna be about me. I don't have to have a personal interest.
Well, no, but I'm saying it seems like they are requiring internal talent and using that to continue to build. It's just the owners are now not those people directly. Is there any? I guess here's what I mean. Is there an example of some external team coming in, buying out a team, and like firing all the management and then moving in their own people? Has that happened yet?
Let me try and think.
Yeah, in esports.
That's a good question. So let me. Oh, fuck, man. I should have had this prepared. I should have known we'd gone off on this tangent.
I guess
the fact that you can't think of one right off the bat, Richard, is saying a lot.
Well, because it seems like this path right now was inevitable. Like esports will grow to a certain level to where it becomes financially prudent for other people to start to invest in it. ESPN is taking a really big interest in things.
Other successful businessmen
are going to come in. It's not going to be a competition ever. It's going to be acquisitions. That's the only way that ever could have went, right? And they're going to start to acquire some of these other organizations, and now you're going to have, your end goal was to be purchased by one of these larger, massive brands as things start to go mainstream. I don't see any other way that things could have ever.
I mean, the dream is to be able. The dream is to be able to create your own. No, the dream is definitely to create your own organic company, and it ends up becoming, a competitor to all these other companies. But a more reasonable.
That's not even a dream. That's never happening. If you're somebody that functions only in the realm of esports, just the amount of budgets available, the amount of money that you're going after is going to be several orders of magnitude less than people that are running like massive.
No, but I'm just saying
the
dream. I'm not saying what's likely to happen. But
okay, how about the delusion then? Can we agree on that?
The delusion. Oh my god.
The delusion, because that's never good. That was never ever happening. That was never on the table for a realistic possibility. It just seems strange to me that you have these large companies coming in, taking an interest in things, and then starting to buy up, talent and whatnot. And now it's really disappointing when I always thought that was the goal. That's what it seemed to me.
So I'm just having a look here. So who the fuck's that?
Who?
So I'm sorry. I'm reading up on the 76ers because they definitely hired people external. So they took some guy from BioWare, which that's got fuck all to do with esports. Their CEO obviously still has nothing to do with esports. They've kept Odeon in like an advisory capacity, right? Which I suppose that's okay, but he's not running the show anymore. And that's what worries me, because that is a trend that's going to happen. You're right about that, Stephen. I've been saying this for years, that once these big properties come in and start buying up everything, they are going to put their own people in charge. And esports is going to become like a rich boy's toy. All the people that built esports, all the people that were endemic to esports,
but Richard,
they're going to get driven out or pensioned up.
It's not, I mean, this happens with any startup, dude. Like, when you're a startup, you go get funding, you get angel funding, you get funding from a big VC. I mean, a lot of times the VCs come in with their own CTOs and their own CEOs, and that's how they take it to the next level. Like the people that are founders or whatnot, they usually still have some significant roles, whether it's VPs or at times it could be some chief position. But this is what happens. I mean, when you have somebody come in, they want to put people who have been successful in other businesses. They might not have the expertise in esports, but they have the expertise in organizing a business that maybe the esports people definitely don't.
Again, I agree it happens, but it's fucking retarded. It's just fucking full out retarded. Esports is so fucking niche, right?
True.
Why do we think all of these people that get all this venture capital money and all this startup money, right? Why do we think they consistently fucking fail and blow all their money? Could it be because of this idea that by appointing people from outside of esports?
Hey, we've had esports organizations that get funding that blow through their money too.
Yeah, esports organizations do that.
And we got people from esports running these companies.
At least we're blowing thousands over here, because that's evidence to go out and get, right? That's what the losers in esports, like, fuck them, man. Like, they're nothing. But the competent people in esports have really fucking kept this thing ticking along and turned it from a small thing that was going on in the fucking bedroom to now what it is, which is a global televised phenomenon, right? They've done that. Not these motherfuckers.
Yeah, but we've also but that's also happened on the back of other larger organizations, right? Like Amazon acquiring Twitch and Twitch Broadcasting making a lot of this possible as well. Like, I don't know. I guess
don't get me started on that. That's
I think you just. I mean, I get where you're coming from, Richard. It's just the reality is that this happens and this is normal in business, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like these esports organizations, those people are going to be taken care of. I mean, like all these guys that we're talking about are going to be taken care of, and then
if you were coming into this realm and you wanted to start like investing in these businesses, and so you start to look up and you see that there's a guy called Richard Lewis and he makes a living literally talking about how fucking retarded everybody that operates in this space is, wouldn't you want to hire in a couple of extra people as oversight? I mean, isn't that like a testament to your entire existence?
What I was saying, we'd be all right, Stephen. They wouldn't lose money. Do you know how many job offers I get for consultancy? I have to turn them down. I can't fulfill them all. But you ask anybody that I've actually had a sit-down consultancy talk with, I've stopped people making some fucking chronic missteps in this business. I've even said to them in these meetings, which they're paying me to be at, like, what the fuck are you even thinking with this? Legit, what are you thinking? How do you possibly think this can work? Oh, well, we bought this Newzoo report and it said this. Right, listen, dog. Someone who's in the fucking trenches here, let me tell you, it don't work like that. And that's the point, right? Like, you've got to have the esports brain, which, yeah, you're right, Stephen. It's probably on the autistic spectrum, right? It's probably not great in and of itself.
Oh, I don't use the word as an insult anymore, okay? I'm with her, remember?
Oh, yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, I never did it either. You got me into that. Now you've changed. But yeah, you know, so you've got to, for esports though, having an esports brain's pretty fucking good. These people who come from outside don't have a fucking clue. That's why they burn through their first lot of VC, piss it up against the wall, make bad hires.
Come on, dude. You want to talk about burning through VC? Let's talk about Giovanni and fucking MLG. Let's talk about IPO.
Right, yeah, let's definitely talk about that. You think I'm sparing anyone? I don't give a fuck.
No, I know. I'm just saying that, like, I think that's understandable of your business coming in from the outside, why you would want some of your own oversight, you know, bringing along to come along with all of your cash, right? If there comes a time when these people from the outside are acquiring these major esports teams, literally firing all of the previous owners and installing their own people that are completely outside of the industry, then at that point, then I would be like, okay, well, you know, this is fucked up. This is some bullshit. And this needs to change.
When we do the 2017
2017 special,
right? Have this clip ready because I fucking told you.
All right. Yeah, if it happens, I know. And it's not even, and I told you, if it happens, I'm right there with you. I'm like 1,000,000%. Like, that would be really fucking shitty.
Oh, so it'll be, I'm with him.
But it seems to me right now that all of this transitioning stuff has been pretty respectful. I mean, the fact that Turner hired you and Thorin, who, let's be real, are some of the most controversial fucking people in any scene.
Thorin's a contractor over at Turner. I'm an employee.
Okay, sure, but they still hired you, and you guys are still some of the more controversial.
I agree, right? And I had an agent.
I feel like that speaks volumes to like hopefully their goal or their desire to keep some of the people endemic to the scene involved.
I'll tell you, because I know the inside.
So now the one people that I'm working with are totally different, but everybody else.
Yeah, that's why I'm working with them. They didn't, right? Again, keep this in mind, right? I've turned down job offers from other companies that would pay me double the salary I'm on now, like crazy money. I'm not fucking around. That's legit. I get offered to go be CEOs and VPs and run esports orgs for these venture capital people. Like it's a regular occurrence. That's a backup plan. I can do that whenever I want. I've turned down mainstream media jobs. You know, but I'm with Turner because I see what they want to do, and I understand how they want to do it. And we had the talks right at the get-go from the first meeting. I was like, look, you got to do this, and this, and I'll warn you that esports is a fucking viper pit. And they said they want to be, you know, apolitical. They don't want to come in and swing their dick around and step on anyone's toes. And you can talk to any esports organizer. We've moved our fucking schedules to accommodate other people in the space because we're the new guy. So even though we're Turner with all of the money and all of that, right, we're coming in and we're being, you know, humble and respectful to the space. And that's because, yeah, they have hired endemic esports people to say, you don't want to do this. You don't want to come in as the new guy and create a big fucking stump. You know, that's why I'm there. That's why I'm there. I'm there because their values and my values align, right? If at any point they didn't, I'd walk. It's not like I need the money. It's not like I'm financially driven, you know?
I mean, I guess we'll see what happens in the future in terms of how things play out, I guess, with these other organizations.
Yeah. And again, in the 2017, saying, well, the reason we decided to kill every other company in esports was it was just better for the long-term health of the industry. You know, if I'm saying that in a year,
like then I'm Brian, you know that, right?
Right, exactly, yeah. Right. Well, anyway,
getting back to Reggie,
I would like to read. I would like to read this statement, or I would like to read just this line at the start of Reggie's convo.
There we go.
I personally don't mind putting a complete stop to the PEA initiatives for CSGO. The intention is to work with you guys.
Exactly.
I'm excited to work with you too, Sean. Let's not do the PEA league at all. We need to work together to get ESL to share profits with the teams and the players. This does not read like the words of a guy that instantly decided
hang on. And then what happens after that? Because here's the thing. He's like
Sean
James
keeps throwing it back at him. Sean is doing
he's like James Caan in The Godfather. He's stewing on it.
I'm telling you, as somebody that has played more Bethesda RPGs than I wish, this is like literally, this is like you had to go to game FAQs to get the exact guide on which options you needed to take to get to the ending where you get fired. That's what fucking Sean does in this
Choose your own adventure.
All the perfect options to get fired at the end of this combo. When a guy sends you a message like that, how does that turn into you parting ways? But he keeps doing it. Like,
well, look, dude, I'll put it this way, right? If I was Sean, I'd lawyer up, right? And I think you probably get something out of that. Real talk, especially if it's registered in the state of California, where they're very sympathetic to contractors' rights, not just employees. So,
well, I mean,
I've talked to
this guy. When Reggie is begging him for phone calls, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was in a death match and I wasn't looking at my phone."
Yeah, again, what you're at your fucking employer's beck and call 24 fucking hours a day. I saw some guy in the fucking chat. I don't know why I keep reading the Unfiltered chat.
Stop reading chat, Richard. God dang, you're gonna be banning the entire
There's
chat.
people in the chat going, "Yeah, you get a salary. You're under contract. Of course, they can call you whenever they want." You will not. This is how you know these kids never had a fucking job in their life, right? Like, my boss does not call me at fucking 9 p.m. on a fucking Saturday when I'm getting my drink on and goes, "Oh, Richard, I just want to talk to you about this."
He does if you work servers.
Let's go.
Like
yeah,
that.
dude, no, fuck off, dude. We're the salaried employees in ChanManV's chat. You do not have your time. If you're a salaried employee, you're the one. If you're a fucking manager or some bullshit, and I know this from my work experience, salaried people are always the one that get fucking abused, because if you bring them into work to cover a fucking shift, you don't have to pay them fucking overtime.
That's true. That's
fucking
absolutely
salaried
true.
people get abused like a motherfucker all the time in the real world jobs, and anybody that's ever moved from an hourly to salary position.
Look at the word you've used. Abuse. You know.
Yeah, that's funny. I mean, that's how I'm not. I mean, I say abuse, but I mean, when you're salary, that's kind of what goes along with the fucking job. Like,
bullshit.
If you get salary, you're gonna be getting called. If you want to be 9 to 5, then you ask to be 9 to 5. You want an hourly pay, you're probably never fucking getting promoted. That's part of being a salary.
Richard, when has
position,
being an esports player ever been a 9 to 5 job? That's never been a 9 to 5 job. I mean, in some cases, it's even less than 40 hours.
Defining out, set amounts. How often do you practice? How often do you stream?
This is
how many tournaments you attend? You can't just stick them in the fucking
sure. That's a completely different conversation. That has nothing to do with a phone call. That has nothing to do with a phone call. That's obviously has to do with a very important matter.
Dude,
with your
you've got to have
right
some quality of life. Your boss can't keep getting up in your shit when you're trying to, you're out there with your fiance having a nice dinner. Haven't you seen The Sopranos, right? Look what it did to Tony's marriage.
Rich, I mean,
that's not ridiculous. I can't believe you think it's ridiculous. That
It's
you should be entitled to have some time off.
We're talking playing a game. It's okay.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, it's my weekend. You don't get fucking on my weekend.
Reggie hasn't even talked about firing. I'm sorry you feel that way. At this point, I don't feel safe or comfortable on your organization. I agree that it might be best for us to part ways. Like, this is literally fucking choosing all of the right answers to get to the only ending where you get fired from the
an amicable ending. An amicable, not amicable, but a
I mean, look at this. Again, this is the level of intellect you have to deal with. Come on, dude. If your boss calls you about an urgency, you shit. Was it an emergency? Was it, hey, can we have
it's an emergency.
How is it a fucking emergency?
Whether you have your job or not, that's a pretty big emergency.
Is I need you to get down there and turn a fucking fire extinguisher.
No, the emergency is fucking Richard Lewis has Vegas open. He's finishing the editing, tearing apart our fucking team on the next video he's about to post to the CSGO subreddit. It's going to get Twitter.
That definitely ain't an emergency.
I need you to fucking put out statements now. These assholes on YouTube and Twitter destroying my fucking company. Of course it's an emergency. This whole situation is like very present in the public eye. These were threads that
I just think it's sad. I just think it's sad. First of all,
millions of eyes are on these threads saying TSM fucked up shit on Reggie, fucking monkeys ruining esports again. The whole fucking world is watching these Reddit threads. Reddit is what, the 25th most popular site on the internet, and this thread is #1 on all of Reddit, and you're saying it's not an emergency? What the fuck? Come on. Come on, dude.
Personally, I think it can wait, dog.
I think it can.
Jesus Christ.
Look, it's hard to have this conversation with Americans, right?
There's an architectural engineering major in some university in Indiana sitting there reading his fucking phone who's like, I don't know what the fuck CS Joe is, but this Reggie guy sure is a fucking asshole. Like, fuck.
Oh, man. Okay.
So, I think we can agree to disagree on James, because Americans have had that red, white, blue their ass when it comes to workers' rights. Over in Europe, we're a bit more civilized about how we treat our employees. Obviously, this would never stand, man. This wouldn't stand at all. So I guess we're coming at it from two different outlooks.
That is a minor thing on the grand scheme of things.
Maybe neither's wrong. It was a lack of workers' rights that got the railroads built. So you can all be very proud and pat yourselves on the back and say that you support that shit.
Not even, because our railroads in America are fucking falling apart.
My people were the ones
actually,
railroads.
Did Trump say that? Did you just agree with Donald Trump? Didn't he say that actually when he was?
I agree with some of what Donald Trump says. I just don't think he has any good solutions for any of his problems.
No, I actually agree with you on that.
Oh, God.
We'll get into Trump later. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, but can I just say how much I've missed this? This is actually
Don't
good.
even start. I'm gonna get like bombarded with fucking tweets.
Yeah, why isn't Chris being a better host? Why didn't he bring somebody on to offer the other side of the debate? Like, fucking, if you've ever said that, stop watching this show, please. You're a fucking moron. You missed the entire point. Fucking idiot.
All right. In the end, though, Scoots, you think this is gonna push over the Players Association? Is Scoots gonna be the start of this?
Listen, dude. I think the players are on the right side on this, dude, and I think Scoots is on the right side. And there's definitely some compromise, right?
Right side or wrong side? I mean, it's just it's a forcing function for something that needs to exist. That's how I look at all of this. And
you need to turn the gain up on your mic. You keep cutting out.
Oh, it might be yeah.
So what did you say? You said it was the.
I was saying it's just a forcing function for just getting this Players Association.
And again, that's the whole point, right? Like sometimes you got to do something extreme, get everyone around a fucking table and have a fucking talk about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you do, right? That's you like the torch paper.
Like the torch paper?
Yeah, legit. Because obviously it's always going to be an explosive issue. Like I'm telling you like the torch paper. You see, okay, we got to blow this shit up now. Community opinion, honestly, it doesn't really matter that much in this discussion. It's how far are the players willing to go? What are they willing to risk? And how far are the owners willing to go? And what are they willing to risk? And I guess we'll see what comes out. We'll see what falls out of the tree. Personally, I think what Reginald's done in basically pushing for a player to be removed, publicly coming out and accusing him of being a ringleader and a manipulator and some sort of
give you that one. But...
Yeah, all of that shit. Like that's defamatory. I mean, that's a pathetic thing for an owner to do. I love how he always says in all of his things as well. He goes, "Oh, I didn't want to release the logs about this." Yeah, you did, Reggie. It's the whole reason you keep them. You every time somebody comes out with something about.
All right, come on. All right. So first off, let's talk about the logs.
First of all, Sean was the first one to start fucking leaking logs. Secondly, everybody keeps logs on everything for every reason. You should always have logs. You don't keep logs just to release them. I have fucking logs of.
Let me finish. Sean
You're talking
released
about Mr.
the logs
Logs
of him and Reginald having a conversation. Reginald released all of his other players.
What?
So just to hammer the nail in the coffin for any working relationship that they might have been able to have with Sean, by the way. That's why he did it. So here's the point. Every time TSM gets in a bind, look what happened with that Svenskeren bullshit over in League of Legends. What do? Let's put the logs out. What happened with Biofrost? Let's put the logs out. They always put the fucking logs out. You're talking about maturity in this industry, Stephen, right? Well, how about a team owner just takes it on the fucking chin? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't put a fucking Skype log out on Twitter.
What?
What do you taking on the chin? If a guy is fucking
all right, just because the logs are
he's only been working with it for 2 weeks. No, fuck that shit, dude. And then he starts dumping logs onto fucking Skype, dude. I'm surprised, Sean. I would have shit canned that dude. Fuck that, dude. If I have a guy that's working,
you would have shit canned Sean Gares?
Over publishing those logs? Hell yeah, instantly.
Come on, Rich. He shouldn't have posted the logs.
He published the logs after he said he'd gone from the team. At that point, he's got nothing to lose. It's 0-0.
It was pretty darn close. It was
like I would have shit canned him just for being stupid enough to think that logs that he dumps, where he's avoiding a career critical phone call because he's quote unquote in a death match, was a good idea. I would have fired him for being stupid, for thinking that was intelligent. All right, I don't know, man.
Well, there was obviously.
When I look at the logs that Sean released, that whole conversation to me was everything that's wrong with the average player in esports. This is why I'm so hard sometimes, because these people are like fucking children that you have to shepherd around to try to get them to do like anything somewhat competently. Like, and I don't know, man.
There's people in the chat again talking about two-party consent rules. It's different from state to state. I know mine in Atlanta. If I record a call and I'm on the call, I can release that call publicly. You can't do a goddamn thing about it.
I mean, whether you should,
right?
whether it's legal or not,
when it comes to
different.
chat logs, again, you ain't got a fucking, you ain't got a leg to stand on. So anyone trying to talk about, oh, what Sean did is illegal, also a moron, by the way.
So I mean, the legality of it, we're not even talking about the legality of it. It's more about just the professionalism of it, and plus the agenda of it too, because I felt like when Sean first released it, he had agenda for doing it too, because it was immediately with the statement that he'd been released.
Yeah, well, he was already out the team at that point, right? So how do you keep your personal brand high? How do you keep eyes on the cause?
Can you stop, Richard?
I feel
like I learned these lessons when, like, fucking 5 years ago. The last thing you do, and okay, so I'm switching to authority mode, and I'm telling you, everybody in chat this: when you get fired from a job or when you leave from a job, the last thing you go and do is burn every fucking bridge you had to that job. That's not what an adult does, because nobody's gonna want to fucking work with you. Nobody wants to work with that person. If he ends up going ways, the only thing that you can do that is the correct path of the correct path, unless you actually got severely fucked and there was really fucked shit going on.
You don't think being fired is
I'm talking about, like, if the guy called you a fucking nigger and said he didn't want to work with people that were like too many shades darker than him or whatever. Like, if there's some serious shit going on,
you're gonna get your social justice warrior card pulled.
If there is some serious shit going on, sure, but otherwise you do not burn the fucking bridge as soon as you get fired. Like, the day after, you're like, well, look at all these fucking scumbags, because nobody's gonna want to work with you again. This is an absolutely 100% factual statement. You can go and talk to anybody that works in hiring, anybody that works in HR at any fucking job, and they will tell you the exact fucking same thing that I did, okay? That I just told you. And I've done this in the past. I did it with Gigabyte. When I was banned from casting an event, I went and I made that giant fucking post saying, fuck Gigabyte in the ass. Right? Yeah, I remember. That was fucking 4 years ago. I learned these lessons, okay? Richard, you should know these lessons by now, okay? You cannot.
Listen, whoa.
We're talking about Mr. Logs here.
And then try to say, well, I'm doing it to save my brand. No, you motherfucker, you're destroying your brand. And that's what Sean has done here.
There's two ways of looking at it, Stephen. Did you learn a lesson, or did you have your fucking chopped off, mate?
Did I what?
It's like you've been castrated.
It's not
Oh my goodness.
I guess, like, at the end of the day, I would rather be making 200K and I guess be a little bit sensible in how I navigate internet communities than, to be the big guy with the big balls or whatever and make fucking 25K and have to get a part-time job at fucking Burger King
and while that's capitalism.
I come home and stream.
There's a saying, right, where it's like, if you're not anti-establishment in your 20s, you got no balls, but if you haven't turned establishment in your 30s, you got no brains.
Churchill.
I know. I think didn't Churchill or somebody say this about, like, if you're a liberal in your if you're a conservative in your 20s, you have no heart, and if you're a liberal in your 30s, you have no brain. There's a saying like that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, probably.
But
you obviously didn't pay too much attention to that one, though, did you?
I'm not in my 30s yet, so I can still be a believer.
Right.
Okay, so first,
I look forward to welcome you over to the fucking elephant party in a few years.
All right, first topic, 1 hour. All right, let's go to the second topic now. All right, next topic. Well, speaking of the elephant party, let's talk about Trump and
here we
the
go.
year he's had.
Yeah, let's calm it down a little bit. Let's pour some oil on this raging fucking.
Oh my! Destiny has literally no regard to keeping connections with people. He has broken bonds with almost everyone he's gotten friends with. Except that's not true. I got connections all over now. I'm the connection fucking master, dude. I'm in a fucking vlog with Einstein a few days ago. I fucking talk with Reckful somewhat regularly via fucking Twitter DMs. I fucking am friends with Kelly. I'm friends with all these fucking people all over. I'm going to fucking Las Vegas in a week because I'm getting paid by Blue to be there for a weekend.
He actually goes to events now, guys. He actually goes to events.
I'm going to be at CES.
Yeah, I am, dude. Yeah,
I'm going to be at CES.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. Now I got connections all over the fucking place now because I learned
we know where they're going.
There's still cogbags that might hate me, okay? JP with his little fucking 2-inch dick shriveled all up in his fucking balls might not like me still, okay? But besides people like that, I have most of my connections intact. I've rebuilt my bridges, okay? I went full Bob the Builder, and I'm friends with most people right now, okay? So
wait, Richard.
Stuff out with JP.
Yeah. What's this going on with JP? I thought you guys were buds playing games together and shit way back when.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Fuck JP, okay? All right.